Why can't freshwater fish live in salt water? And vice versa? Imagine this. I'm a goldfish. Sounds a bit weird. Goldfish live in a sparkling clean glass tank, swimming around a colorful plastic castle every eating day, pellets on schedule, with no worries. In short, a life of complete leisure. Then one fine day, some kind soul scoops you up and releases you straight into the ocean. No time to say a word, no time to prepare mentally, and then nothing. Just absolute nothing. Wait, hold on. It's still water, right? It looks pretty much the same. Clear water, you can swim, you can breathe. But inside your body at that moment, everything is in chaos. So, what's happening? Why do freshwater fish die in salt water? And why can't ocean fish survive in rivers or lakes? Let's dive in and figure this out. Is water really as similar as we think? We often think water is just water. But in reality, water isn't not just about its clear appearance. It's a chemical, physical, and biological ecosystem working silently but incredibly complex. The biggest difference between freshwater and salt water isn't in the color, but in the salt and mineral concentration. Freshwater has very little dissolved salt, while seawater is like a rich hot pot broth, full of sodium chloride, magnesium, calcium, potassium. You name it, it's all in there. Sounds fun, right? But this difference is exactly what causes a real shock to a fish's body. Because fish, like all living creatures, have semi-permeable cell membranes. This means water can pass through, but salt and minerals can't move freely. And that's when the tragedy begins. In freshwater, the salt concentration is higher than the surrounding environment. So, due to osmosis, water constantly flows into the fish's body to avoid bursting from too much water. Freshwater fish have to urinate constantly, literally to expel excess water, and keep their bodies from swelling uncontrollably. On the other hand, in the situation flips completely. The surrounding environment is saltier than the fish's body. Saltwater fish have to actively drink seawater and simultaneously excrete salt through their gills or urine to avoid dehydrating and shriveling up in the ocean. In other words, a fish's entire life is a constant battle, water and salt. It's like a never-ending tug of war, stuck as the rope in the middle. If you put a fish in the wrong environment, what happens? Disaster, obviously. If you drop a freshwater fish into the ocean, it loses water rapidly. Its body shrivels up, and its organs start shutting down one by one, faster than a fried fish gets crispy. If you put a saltwater fish in a freshwater lake, things aren't much better. Water floods into its cells uncontrollably, making them swell like balloons. And eventually, boom, they burst. In other words, don't be foolish and take Nemo for a trip to HON because there's a high chance Nemo will drown in trouble. Of course, nature always has a few special fish. There's a group called euryhaline fish, which can live in both freshwater and saltwater. Like environmental bilinguals, the prime example is salmon. Growing up in the ocean, and then swimming back upstream to spawn. A life cycle that's truly about the journey home. There are also eels, both all certified go-way travelers. The reason they can do this is their kidneys and cell structures are incredibly flexible. In a fun way, they can switch modes between freshwater and saltwater. Why does this matter? Because it's not just about the life or death of a single fish. It's about the entire ecosystem chain. Rising sea levels, and even the seafood industry we depend on. When sea levels rise, saltwater starts encroaching deep into freshwater areas, where many familiar freshwater fish, many fish are forced to migrate, adapt quickly, or go extinct. And the consequences don't stop there. Ecological imbalances, reduced natural and disrupted underwater food chains. No exaggeration, your favorite braised fish dish might not taste the same anymore, because the fish couldn't survive the shock, and we lose a piece of childhood memory. Can we genetically modify fish to live anywhere? Theoretically, yes. Scientists are researching gene editing to create versatile fish that can adapt and survive in any water environment, from ponds to oceans. Sounds exciting, right? But then a bigger question arises. Should we do it? Would creating such a superfish accidentally disrupt the natural balance? What would happen to the ecosystem if one day we released a genetically modified into the wrong environment? Who would control the consequences? The natural world already has its own delicate balance. Sometimes, it's best to let nature take its course. What if humans had to switch water environments like fish? Sounds intriguing. But in reality, it's not easy at all. The human body is extremely sensitive to salt, and our biological systems aren't as flexible as fish. Imagine drinking seawater. It's a quick way to hydrate. Big mistake. Instead of quenching your thirst, you dehydrate while drinking. Because seawater's high salt concentration pulls water out of your cells, causing your blood pressure to drop, and your organs to malfunction and collapse. On the flip side, if you're in extremely pure fresh water, it might seem safe, right? But it's just as dangerous. Your body would absorb too much water, causing electrolyte imbalances, cell swelling, especially brain cells. And ultimately, in other words, fish are much better at this than we are. At least they have systems to regulate ions and osmotic pressure to adapt to their environment. So, can fish evolve to adapt? The answer is yes. But it would take millions of years. In fact, some fish species from freshwater to saltwater, or vice versa. All thanks to genetic mutations and natural selection. Nature's silent but incredibly resilient evolution. This process doesn't just revolve around salt, but also involves many other factors like oxygen levels in the water. However, if we had to name the final boss of this entire process, salt remains the brightest because it's the salt concentration that shapes the environment. And a fish's ability to handle salt or not. What do you think if you were a fish? Would you choose to live in calm rivers and lakes or the salty, stormy ocean? Leave your comments below. We'll pick the most interesting answers to develop into our next video. And if you found today's saltier than you thought, don't forget to hit like to support us, subscribe to the Why Though channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss our next mind-blowing mystery. See you in the next episode, when we dive deeper into the weird world of science. For now, goodbye. And if you found today's science saltier than you thought, don't forget to hit like to support us, subscribe to the Why Though channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss our next mind-blowing mystery. See you in the next episode, when we continue diving deep into the weird world of science. For now, goodbye.